Welcome to the deep dive. Ever read a story that just feels like a thriller film? Well, imagine an intelligence agent, kind of unassuming, rising from, well, basically obscurity to become one of the world's most powerful political figures.
It's quite the narrative.
Exactly. So today we're unpacking that astonishing journey, the ascent of Vladimir Putin. We're going to dissect the key moments, the strategic moves that turned this anonymous spy into a global leader. It all starts back in Leningrad, now St. Petersburg, of course. He grew up in a pretty ordinary family, nothing grand, but he had this quite specific ambition from a young age.
Yeah, he wanted to join the KGB. It was a childhood dream, apparently. And he did it after studying law. He got in around 1975.
So what was that KGB work actually like? Was it all action and espionage?
Well, not really, no. That's a key
No.
thing to grasp. His posting was in Dresden, East Germany. And it was mostly about gathering intelligence, cultivating networks, managing agents.
More desk work than field work, maybe.
More methodical, I'd say. Disciplined. Analyzing information, being discreet. Skills that, turned out to be pretty fundamental later on.
Right. And then comes this huge historical moment, 1989, the Berlin Wall falls. That must have hit him hard being stationed right there.
Oh, profoundly. Witnessing the Soviet power just crumble firsthand seems to have instilled this deep conviction in him.
A conviction about what exactly?
That Russia had been critically weakened, that its influence was just evaporating. It really cemented this belief that his country desperately needed rebuilding, needed to be strong again.
And then the Soviet Union itself dissolves and he heads back to Russia, a very different Russia.
A chaotic Russia. And he carried that feeling, that sort of mission back with him.
So back home, he doesn't stay in intelligence. He moves into politics, starts working in the St. Petersburg mayor's office. What drove his rise there? It seems incredibly fast.
It was fast. People noticed his capability, his effectiveness, and maybe even more importantly, his loyalty to his superiors. That really stood out.
Loyalty gets you places.
It certainly seemed to for him. By 96, he gets the call to Moscow. And his rise there is even quicker within Boris Yeltsin's government.
Leading eventually to director of the FSB.
Exactly, the main successor agency to the KGB. That put him right at the heart of Russia's security apparatus. A very powerful position.
Okay, now the pace really picks up. 1999, Yeltsin makes him prime minister.
A massive turning point. And almost immediately, the Second Chechen War flares up. This gives Putin an instant, very high-stakes platform.
An opportunity, in a way.
He definitely sees it as one. He took very decisive, very visible actions against what was framed as terrorism. And this really helped him build an image.
The strong leader image.
Precisely. Tough, resolute. Just what many Russians, frankly, tired of the instability of the 90s, felt they needed. His popularity just soared across the country.
And then the absolute bombshell. New Year's Eve, 1999.
Yeah, Yeltsin's shock resignation. He just hands the presidency directly over to Putin.
Making him acting president. Just like that. From spy to FSB chief to prime minister to president. Incredible.
An astonishing trajectory.
So he wins the actual presidential election in 2000 quite easily, right? Overwhelmingly, I think.
Yes, a strong mandate.
Yeah.
And he moved very quickly to consolidate that power.
What were the first big moves?
Well, you can point to three major things, all kind of connected. First, bringing the powerful industrialists, the oligarchs, under control.
The ones who'd become hugely powerful in the 90s.
Exactly. They had immense wealth, immense political influence. Putin systematically reined them in. The whole Khodorkovsky affair with Yukos Oil was maybe the most famous example, a clear signal.
Okay, so controlling the oligarchs. What else?
Second, establishing firm government control over the major TV channels, the media landscape, centralizing the flow of information.
Controlling the narrative.
You could say that. And third, he really restructured the political system itself, created this very centralized vertical of power, concentrating authority in the presidency, reducing the power of regional governors, parliament.
Pulling all the strings towards the center.
Pretty much.
And during these early years, Russia's economy started doing better too, didn't it? Oil prices were rising.
Yes, significantly better. And that economic improvement, rising living standards, stability, that definitely helped him.
How so?
It fed directly into his broader message, his goal. Reawakening Russian nationalism, pride. He was connecting economic recovery with, regaining national dignity, reestablishing Russia as a major global player.
And he's certainly managed to hold on to power since then. 2 more presidential terms, that stint as prime minister when Medvedev was president,
Right, the can democracy period.
and then back to the presidency in 2012, and he's been there ever since.
So when you try to boil down the why has he been so successful, so enduring, experts often point back to that KGB training.
Discipline, the strategy.
Yes, but also maybe the secrecy, the ability to plan long-term, control information, project a certain image while keeping true intentions, perhaps, hidden, that strategic mindset.
It does seem like he has this knack for spotting and seizing the moment. The Chechen War, the economic upturn.
Absolutely. And he very consciously cultivated that strong leader image, which, as we said, really resonated at a time when Russia felt unstable, maybe even humiliated after the Soviet collapse.
People wanted someone perceived as strong.
It seems so. So the whole journey from this fairly unknown intelligence officer to one of the most dominant figures on the world stage, it's genuinely astonishing. A real case study in ambition, timing, and the mechanics of power.
It really is. This deep dive has given us a lot to think about regarding his path.
It definitely has. And it leaves you with a question, maybe. How much of any leader's rise is really down to their background, their inherent skills, like Putin's intelligence training, and how much is about adapting, reacting strategically to completely unpredictable historical events like a superpower collapsing or sudden instability, something to ponder.